San Francisco glowed under the golden haze of city lights, the towering skyscrapers reflecting a world that never slept. But inside the top-floor office of Carter Tech, silence loomed, thick and suffocating. Ethan Carter stood by the floor-to-ceiling windows, his sharp gaze scanning the bustling streets below. His company, the empire his father built, was at its peak, preparing to launch an AI breakthrough that could revolutionize the industry. But at this moment, success was the last thing on his mind. All he could think about was a contract, a single sheet of paper that felt heavier than chains. On his sleek desk lay his father's inheritance contract, its crisp yet unforgiving words burning into his thoughts. Ethan James Carter must marry before his 35th birthday to retain ownership of 51% of Carter Tech. Otherwise, his shares will be redistributed among existing shareholders. His fists clenched, nails digging into his palms. Time was running out. Only a few weeks remained until his 35th birthday. If he failed to meet this condition, Victor Langley, his greatest rival, would gain enough leverage to manipulate the very company Ethan had bled to protect. A deep voice cut through the tension. "You need a plan, and I have someone who can help you." Ethan turned, his cold gaze locking onto Daniel Reed, his lawyer and the only friend he trusted. "Help me? I don't need anyone's pity." Daniel smirked. "It's not pity, it's a deal, a contract marriage." Ethan leaned back in his chair, arms crossed, his sharp gaze fixed on Daniel. "A contract marriage? Do you really think I'd stoop to something that ridiculous?" Daniel remained unfazed, sliding a folder across the desk. "It's not ridiculous. It's the only way you keep your company." Ethan glanced at the folder, but didn't open it. He despised being cornered, but as his eyes flicked back to the bold terms in his father's contract, the bitter truth sank deeper. He had no other choice. "Who is she?" His voice was low, edged with irritation. Daniel smirked, leaning back slightly. "Mia Brooks." The office door swung open, and Ethan turned his head. His gaze stilled for just a second. Standing before him wasn't some polished socialite in designer heels or a corporate princess draped in luxury. Mia Brooks crossed her arms, clad in a slightly worn leather jacket, her brown hair tied up in a messy ponytail. No makeup, no glittering jewelry. She didn't belong in his world, yet somehow that made him pause. Daniel stood, gesturing toward her. "Mia, meet Ethan Carter." Mia didn't look at Ethan like others did. There was no admiration, no reverence. She simply pulled out a chair, sat down, and casually flipped open the file Daniel had given her. "I've reviewed your situation. If you want to keep Carter Tech, you need a contract marriage." Ethan raised an eyebrow, intrigued. "And you're willing to help me? Why?" Mia shut the folder, leaning back in her seat, her gaze locking onto his without hesitation. "I have my reasons." Silence stretched between them, a quiet battle of wills. Ethan scrutinized her, searching for an ulterior motive, but Mia didn't flinch. Finally, he crossed his arms, reclining slightly. "Fine, but there's one rule. This is strictly business. No one crosses the line." Mia smirked, her voice light as air. "Trust me, I have no interest in fake feelings." Something flickered in Ethan's mind, a spark of challenge, an unspoken tension. This might be more interesting than he expected. In just 1 week, the names Ethan Carter and Mia Brooks dominated every tech and finance headline. A ruthless CEO, meticulous to the extreme, a brilliant yet independent data scientist, a stark contrast, an enigma of a couple. Mia wasted no time in crafting the perfect love story, a shared Instagram account, posting a carefully edited photo of them accidentally touching hands at a tech event in New York, a public appearance at the Global AI Conference where Ethan introduced Mia as his greatest inspiration, and strategically leaked paparazzi shots, capturing them leaving Carter Tech late at night, fueling whispers of a secret romance. The illusion was flawless, but the problem was, it was starting to feel real. One late night inside Carter Tech's AI lab, Mia leaned over a massive monitor, adjusting an algorithm. Ethan stood beside her, his gaze unintentionally drifting to her profile. As Mia reached for a pen, her fingers brushed against his. Ethan froze, just for a second, but it was enough. Mia noticed too. She slowly withdrew her hand, saying nothing. The air between them shifted, heavier than before. Ethan turned away, his voice measured but slightly strained. "You've done well. The world believes us now." Mia smirked slightly, but didn't look at him. "And what about you? Do you believe it?" Ethan didn't answer. He walked out, but for the first time in years, he felt himself faltering. That morning, as Ethan walked into his office, a strange silence engulfed Carter Tech. Employees exchanged uneasy glances, some outright avoiding his gaze. His phone buzzed relentlessly, texts, emails, calls, all carrying the same urgency. Frowning, he opened an email from the board of directors. The subject line sent ice through his veins. Mia Brooks? A spy? Is Carter Tech's AI at risk? His grip tightened around the mouse as he scrolled down. A newly published article had taken over major tech news sites. It included photos of Mia slipping out of Carter Tech late at night, along with a leaked message. "The project is complete. Don't worry, he doesn't suspect a thing." Fury surged through Ethan's chest. He dialed Mia's number, but she didn't answer. Not willing to wait, he stormed down to the AI lab. The door slammed open, making employees jump. Mia turned, startled, but Ethan's gaze was no longer the same. Gone was the warmth, replaced by cold betrayal. He threw his phone onto the desk in front of her, the article still glaring on the screen. "Care to explain this?" His voice was dangerously low. Mia's eyes scanned the screen, her face draining of color. "Ethan, this isn't what it looks like." "Not what it looks like." Ethan let out a bitter laugh. "I trusted you, I defended you, and this is how you repay me?" Mia shook her head, stepping closer, but Ethan stepped back. "I trusted you, Mia. I let you in, and you turned out to be just like everyone else who betrayed me." His voice was hoarse, laced with anger and something deeper. Pain. "I was a fool to believe in you, and I won't make that mistake again." Mia froze, the pain in her eyes unmistakable. "Ethan, please, you have to believe me." But Ethan turned away, his tone like ice. "Get out, now." Mia stood still, silent tears slipping down her cheeks. Without another word, she turned and walked away. The door slammed shut behind her, and with it, something inside Ethan shattered. The night rain poured down over San Francisco, but inside Ethan Carter's office, the real storm raged within him. He sat in the dim light, an untouched glass of whiskey resting on his desk. His mind replayed the same image. Mia walking away, silent tears streaming down her face. His phone buzzed. Daniel. Ethan didn't want to answer, but after a moment, he picked up. "I don't want to hear another word about her." His voice was hoarse. "Then you should listen to this." Daniel's tone was sharper than usual. "Victor set you up. The leaked article, the messages. They're fake." Ethan froze, fingers tightening around his glass. "What?" Daniel continued. "Mia never betrayed you. She's the heiress of Charles Brooks, one of the greatest AI pioneers. And more than that, she's been protecting you this whole time. She negotiated with suppliers, saved Carter Tech's AI project, without you even knowing." Everything collapsed in an instant. Ethan shot up from his chair, heart pounding. A memory resurfaced. That night in Paris, when Mia whispered over the phone, "Keep the supplier confidential. He can't know." He had misunderstood everything. Without thinking, he grabbed his coat and rushed out, letting the cold rain drench him. He knew exactly where Mia would be, the only place she always went when she was hurting, the southern coastline. When he arrived, Mia was sitting alone on the damp sand, the wind tangling her hair. She looked so small, so fragile. Ethan stepped forward, his shoes sinking into the wet shore. "Mia." She turned, her eyes red-rimmed, but when she saw him, hurt flashed across her face. "Why are you here?" Her voice was barely above a whisper. Ethan dropped to his knees before her, no hesitation. "I was wrong." His voice was raw. "I let my fear control me. I pushed you away when I should have fought for you." Mia bit her lip, silent tears trailing down her cheeks. "I never wanted Carter Tech, Ethan," she whispered. "I just wanted you to believe in me." Ethan reached for her hand. "Why, Mia?" His voice was low, thick with emotion. "Why did you help me from the beginning? You didn't have to." Mia met his gaze, her eyes shimmering under the distant glow of city lights. The sea breeze tousled her hair, but her voice remained steady. "Don't you remember?" she whispered. Ethan frowned. "Remember what?" Mia inhaled deeply before giving him a small, wistful smile. "When I was 14, a group of classmates pushed me down on the school field. They laughed. No one helped me. But then, someone did." Ethan's breath hitched. A memory flickered in his mind. A 17-year-old boy standing protectively in front of a younger girl, shielding her from a group of bullies. Ethan's breath caught in his throat. Memories of that day flooded back. The fear in a young girl's eyes, the way he had instinctively stepped between her and the bullies, the relief in her trembling smile when he held out his hand. "Mia? It was you?" His voice was barely above a whisper, filled with shock and something else, remorse. "I didn't know." Mia nodded, a single tear slipping down her cheek. "It was you, Ethan, the only one who stood up for me when the whole world turned its back." Ethan's chest tightened. A moment from his past had changed everything. Mia bit her lip before whispering, "When I found out you were in trouble, I just wanted to help you, the way you once helped me." She paused, looking into his eyes, her voice finally breaking past the walls she had built around herself. "At first, I only wanted to repay you, but somewhere along the way, you became more than a debt to be settled." She exhaled shakily, her voice dropping to a whisper. "You became the only person I couldn't bear to lose. Ethan, I love you. I have for a long time." Ethan stilled. She loved him. The wind howled, the waves crashed, but the distance between them disappeared. Ethan stepped forward, wrapping his arms around her, pulling her close. Mia didn't resist. She simply buried her face into his chest, listening to the steady rhythm of his heartbeat. This time, Ethan wasn't letting her go. 3 weeks later, Ethan took Mia away from San Francisco. No business meetings, no deadlines. They arrived in Florence, Italy, a city Ethan had always wanted to visit but never had someone to share it with. That evening, they strolled along Ponte Vecchio, the ancient bridge glowing under golden streetlights. The Arno River shimmered beneath them, reflecting couples walking hand in hand. A street musician played soft melodies in the crisp night air. Mia inhaled deeply, turning to Ethan, her eyes filled with rare serenity. "Thank you for bringing me here." Ethan didn't reply. Instead, he gently squeezed her hand, his gaze distant as if lost in thought. Then, suddenly, he stopped in the middle of the bridge, reaching into his coat pocket. Mia's breath hitched. "Ethan?" He said nothing, just slowly dropped to one knee. The soft glow of the streetlights caught the deep sapphire blue of the ring in his hand, glistening like the Florence night sky. "I once told you I didn't believe in love, but you changed that." His voice was steady but full of emotion. "I once thought love was a distraction, but with you, I've learned it's the only thing that makes life worth living." He took a steady breath, gazing into her eyes. "I won't promise you the world, Mia, but I promise that every day I will make this world ours. Will you marry me?" Mia covered her mouth, her eyes shimmering with unshed tears. She didn't hesitate. "Yes, yes, I will." A rare, genuine smile crossed Ethan's lips. He slipped the ring onto her finger, then pulled her into his arms. They kissed beneath the golden lights of Ponte Vecchio, as strangers around them clapped and cheered. And in that moment, Ethan knew one thing for certain. He had finally found his forever. The following spring, Ethan Carter and Mia Brooks officially became husband and wife in a quiet yet profoundly meaningful ceremony. No extravagance, no flashing cameras, just those who truly mattered, gathered to witness their moment. They exchanged vows at a centuries-old villa in Tuscany, Italy, surrounded by rolling vineyards and a golden sunset. As Mia walked down the aisle in a flowing white gown, Ethan couldn't take his eyes off her. when Daniel, acting as their officiant, smirked and asked, "Ethan Carter, do you promise to love and protect Mia for the rest of your life?" Ethan squeezed her hand, his voice steady. "I do. Not just today, but always." When it was Mia's turn, she gazed at Ethan, her eyes shining. "I've loved you for a long time, Ethan, and I promise, I'll stay by your side until the very end." As they exchanged rings and Ethan pulled her into a deep kiss, the guests erupted into applause. But for Ethan and Mia, at that moment, the world was only them. A year later, Carter Tech and Brooks AI merged, creating a technological empire. But to Ethan, his greatest success wasn't measured in numbers. It was the woman, building the future with him. One late night, in their new headquarters, Mia was meticulously adjusting an AI design, while Ethan stood behind her, his arms loosely wrapped around her waist. "You're still working?" he murmured. Mia smiled, leaning into him. "Just a little more. Technology needs to be perfect." Ethan chuckled softly. "Technology might, but you're already perfect to me." Mia turned in his embrace, wrapping her arms around his neck. "You know what's even more perfect?" Ethan arched a brow. "What?" Mia smiled, placing a hand over her stomach. "We're going to be a family." Ethan froze, eyes widening in shock. But then, slowly, a smile stretched across his lips. The kind of smile Mia knew meant he had finally found everything he had ever needed. Pulling her close, he whispered against her ear, "From fear, you gave me a reason to believe in love." Mia smiled, resting her head against his chest. "And from doubt, you gave me forever." Under the starlit sky, they stood together, knowing this was only the beginning, a journey of love, trust, and a little life waiting for them ahead. The sun cast a golden glow over the quiet suburbs of San Francisco. On the lush green lawn in front of a charming house, a 3-year-old boy played with his toy car, his bright laughter echoing through the air. "Nathan, don't run too far," Mia called out, though her voice carried more amusement than worry. Little Nathan Carter, with his tousled dark hair just like Ethan's and sparkling eyes reminiscent of Mia's, giggled mischievously before dashing toward his father. Ethan, dressed casually with his sleeves rolled up, bent down swiftly, lifting the boy high into the air, spinning him around. "Again, I want to fly again," Nathan squealed. Ethan chuckled, a laugh that once had been rare, but ever since Mia and Nathan entered his life, it had become second nature. Mia walked over, leaning gently against his side, her eyes brimming with warmth. "I never imagined I'd see you like this," she teased softly. Ethan raised an eyebrow, pulling both her and Nathan into his embrace. "Like what?" Mia smiled, wrapping her arms tightly around his waist. "Happy." Ethan paused for a moment, then pressed a tender kiss to her forehead. "I never thought I'd have a family like this, but you gave me everything I never knew I needed." Nathan blinked up at them, then suddenly planted a wet kiss on Mia's cheek. "I love Mommy too." They both burst into laughter. Ethan ruffled his son's hair, smirking. "This little guy sure knows how to charm the ladies." Mia laughed, feeling an overwhelming sense of contentment. Their home wasn't the grandest or most luxurious, but it was full of love, full of laughter. As the sun dipped below the horizon, the Carter family walked hand in hand back into the house, ready for a simple yet love-filled dinner together.